And welcome to another... Oh, sorry, David.
I'm going to use some of my new reactions as we introduce ourselves.
Oh, yeah, go for it. Okay, here we go. Very, very professional beginning of this stream. Hello, welcome to Town on Tour, the official stream of the official High School Club podcast, Town. Is that getting more or less professional? I don't know. But this week, me and the mayor of Town himself, Shrinky, David, are here in the studio tent with I want to call you Dim, but Adam, Dim, which do you prefer when we're streaming?
Well, my character name in Animal Crossing is Dim, so let's just go with that.
So we're here with Dim. We're here with Dim. I don't know why I had to say why I said it like that. It's like I'm trying. My brain's like trying to compress down all the many layers of information that already I have to have in my brain from playing Animal Crossing. And
hi guys. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
I'm very excited to be in this tiny little tent.
I see your guys
got a great thrill.
Got his hands on the makeshift mixer.
Yeah, I'm pressing all the knobs and turning all the dials and having a good old time.
So here today in the tent, we're going to head off the show by chatting about a few of the topics that we have been that we've been puzzling over, that we've been interested in, that have happened in our towns this week. And I think that first up, we have to chat about it. There's a reason why the tent is full of fish today, and that is because we've gone fishing.
A restaurant.
No, it's because, as I'm sure you both know, it was the fishing tournament today, the first one of new Animal Crossing. Did you compete?
No.
A bit.
I had other things to do today in Animal Crossing, but I had a great time watching all of my animals fish all day.
Oh, yes.
And actually, they were standing back to back. There was 3 of them in a row, standing right next to each other, fishing together. It was so sweet. I enjoyed that a great deal.
Did you notice anything about how they were dressed?
Yes, they were all dressed in like a weird little tracksuit with a hat, a fishing hat.
Yeah,
I think they were trying to. Yeah, it's like a kind of dad outfit. Someone who might fish would wear that.
I thought that was very charming.
I'm loving wearing my wellies. I'm loving, wearing the what are they called, dreggers? What's that fishing outfit called?
Oh, is that like the waders?
Waders, that's the one. Dreggers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, fishermen, anglers out there. Yeah. Had either of you met CJ before today?
I've seen him once, I think, by the beach. But yeah, just the one time.
I think I've seen him a couple of times, and I've got him to make me some, or send a thing off to his friend to make into an artwork. That was quite fun.
I haven't had CJ make me any art yet, and I've been pretty negligent when it comes to fishing in general. Today I only accrued 16 points. I know that's very, 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 very shameful, but I did manage to get a door plaque out of it, which I haven't yet put on my door, so I don't even know what it looks like.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I got 15 points and managed to get a fish rug for it, which is all right, because I put it under my drum kit to stop it from slipping. That's an issue that happens in real life.
Is it not extra slippery because it's a fish rug? Surely it's not the best.
Oh, that's a good point, and it might start to smell.
Yeah.
Didn't think that one through. Well, I was all up for the fishing tourney, and just like, I assumed it would be like previous Animal Crossing games, so I had actually kept a few sea bass, because they one of the few good uses for a sea bass in Animal Crossing is the fact they can be quite long. And so, assuming that it would be a length-based championship, I held some of those to one side and found that they were useless.
Why? Because you can't enter old fish into the tournament?
Yeah, it's all about...
I was going to say, yeah, that seems like cheating to be allowed to hold back stuff. Because you could trade for that stuff beforehand.
You could. Well, no longer. You have to do it all yourself within 3 minutes each time.
I like that. It's like Pac-Man Championship Edition Animal Crossing fishing contest.
I'm looking at my Nook Miles stamps right now, and the one right at the top is Angling for Perfection, and I have one stamp, and it says 41 out of 100.
Oh, you've got more. You've got more than me. So you've been 9 away from the second stamp. I want this. So yeah. Sorry, spoilers. It's 50. And I know this because I was so certain that I would beat my wife Judith to getting the stamps, but she's already done it. She went super hardcore, put her headphones on, and just committed all 5/6 of her senses to getting the final stamp, which I won't mention how many it takes, just in case people want to be surprised. But I was certain, because I think, hopefully high school clubbers remember that I was the king of jump rope in Mario Odyssey, and I thought the fishing competition, no problem, but I'm really struggling. Like, those fish, I just get so anxious to snatch them. Next thing you know, they're gone, and I'm looking like an idiot.
I had no idea that I had managed to get to 283. That's way, way, way more than I would ever have expected that I'd got, because I'm sure I mess up much more often than that. But apparently, in the first few days of playing, I got 100. So
Wow.
I reckon it must have been the intense first weekend of playing, or the first week of playing, where I must have. I think I was on my game, and now, because I've started to play Animal Crossing while doing other things, I probably, I'm not giving it all of my senses like Judith
Sure.
I'm doing.
Yeah, Animal Crossing is great for media stacking, just because I think probably we're going to get more into this when we visit Dim's Island, but it's also because it's kind of, quite a light, easy game to play in segments, but also some people are playing it in quite a hardcore way. I just feel like I can get a lot done in it while I'm doing something else, so I don't necessarily feel that kind of like stress that I'm not doing other things while I'm playing this game.
Are you guys mostly playing on the TV, or are you playing handheld?
Mostly handheld at the moment,
Okay.
just because of that media stacking. But I do love playing it on the TV.
Yeah.
When Ho's using the TV, then I use the handheld.
Yeah.
And when I'm on the TV, then Ho uses handheld. Because it's usually there's somebody playing it at some point during the day.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's all we do all day, every day at the moment when we're not working. Moving on from CJ, I hear that Adam, I hear that you met somebody else for the very first time this week. Flick.
Yeah, Flick, the sort of cool goth punk lizard guy.
What I'm loving.
Is a big,
Oh, sorry.
big fan of
sorry.
insects.
What I'm loving is like how Splatoon, CJ and Flick are. Like, it just feels like there's like been an evolution in the character models of Animal Crossing. It's like when you look around your village, you may have a Curly, you may have a Rolled, you may have like a really OG villager who looks like they could have been made with like the limited polygons, but these kind of newbies, they have that kind of Splatoony feel.
Well, it's the same exact dev team, isn't it? Splatoon and Animal Crossing. Yeah,
I think there's so much in this game. I think maybe we mentioned this every stream, or I maybe just talk about it so much in my own life I've forgotten where my thoughts on this begin and end. But there's just so much like DNA that's like similar between the games that I think even if it wasn't already known that it was the same team, you could probably suss it out. I mean, both games.
It's interesting because they could not be more different gameplay wise. As
No,
far
but
as Nintendo games go.
yeah,
The
but
loops that you do. So for one of the reasons why you like log into Splatoon every day is to see what's new in the shops, for example.
The shops in the plaza, now you mention it, are really Animal Crossing-esque, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like just walking around the plaza and seeing people go about their lives. No other, they didn't need to do that bit, but they went for it because they had that DNA of Animal Crossing.
I think both games, and it's really interesting that Animal Crossing is in this discussion, given that it's. I hate to make everybody feel really, really super duper old, but next year is Animal Crossing's 20th anniversary. Let that slap you in the face.
Well, it's an N64 game, isn't it?
I know. In Europe, I think it took a good 5 years to get to us via the GameCube.
Yeah, in Europe it's GameCube only, but the very first one in Japan. The first one in Japan got 3 releases. It got the original one, an improved one, and then another improved one.
Because they crossed, because they did the American release where they had localized everything and added some new things in, and then they brought that back to Japan.
Yeah, that's right.
GameCube, yeah,
very iterative for an early phase of Nintendo's history.
Well, this is what makes it so interesting, because I think one of the key bits of shared DNA is the kind of self-expression for self-expression's sake. Like, you don't need. I know the clothes have different properties in Splatoon, but you wouldn't need to have that big of a selection to kind of fulfill the the need to have
Sure,
different
yeah.
kit.
No, it is about making your avatar and sort of, creating a persona for yourself. Absolutely.
I feel there's going to be like a lot of kind of game dev chat tonight, because of your background, Dim. I know that we had a little chat before the stream about what we would chat about on the island. Speaking of island life, guys, I know we're all very excited, and I don't know if everybody on this stream has met him yet, but I do know that Shrinky, David, you had your first meeting with the dog they call KK Slider this week.
I did, and I felt especially honoured, or maybe touched, or something. It was particularly exciting because he played in my town. I think he played in quite a few people's towns this week, because he does say he's going to turn up on a Saturday, but it turns out that if there's another event on, he'll turn up the day before. So I saw him yesterday.
Yeah, I was weirded out by seeing him yesterday, but I was happy to get KK a day earlier.
Well, I asked him to play. I requested a song. Well, I said play a random song, and he played KK's song, which I felt was especially for me, because I was so fascinated by it. It being the signature song that is often kept as an Easter egg in lots of Nintendo games, wherever the original musician.
I see that one. Yeah.
Toka KK.
Yes.
Is that how you pronounce that, stream fans? Ho asks, is CJ's stream a mukbang and all he does is eat the fish? Is he a competitive eater? I think when you talk to CJ, he gives you the indication that he either fishes for the fish, or he just shows I think there's an indication he might be using your fish and pretending that he's caught them. Like, I might be wrong.
Yeah, I don't get the vibe from either him or Flick that they're all about eating the produce, unlike previous
Nat
tournament. Yeah.
I used to feel bad giving them to Nat because it was so apparent that he wanted to, bake him into a pie.
Yeah, Flick just seems to have a kind of aesthetic obsession with insects. Like, he's just enamored with them in every conceivable way. But he doesn't seem to want to eat them. He just wants to kind of bathe in their essence as much as possible.
I got Flick to make me a tarantula. I think I mentioned this in last week.
Is that now a giant tarantula you've got kicking around your house?
It's the size of a regular tarantula. Weirdly, I thought it was going to be massive.
Oh. Well, I commissioned a dragonfly statue, and it's definitely bigger than the real dragonfly.
Yeah. Same here. The butterfly I got was a bit bigger.
Yeah, it must be just scaled to a certain size and then stop scaling, so it depends on the size of the insect.
I'm going to do a little comparison later, but yeah.
Could you put it down outside and have a real tarantula meet it and have a weird little moment?
Well, I've been planning to put it down somewhere to scare people, into reaching for their neck, because
keep it for Halloween, like creepy little spider kicking around.
I can't wait to do some Halloween theming later on in the game.
Yeah. Big time. While you wait.
Well, I'm speaking about island movements. I know that we've all had some comings and goings in our islands this week.
Yep.
David, I know you mentioned you'd had kind of a big roster change, a big leave and
cabinet reshuffle.
A cabinet reshuffle. What happened?
Executive reshuffle.
Well, Agnes, the first villager I think that I had, one of the original crew, decided to up and leave. And to be honest, I didn't try and stop her, because I was quite fond of all of my villagers, but Agnes, every time I spoke to her, was like, "Oh, you again?" Just very dismissive every time I spoke to her, and it didn't make me feel very welcomed in my first week. And so when she said, "I'm thinking of leaving," I was just like, "Okay, fair enough then. Off you go. You're not that bothered about me." But I was very pleased today to welcome Kiki, this cat with the nice pink ears.
Nice.
Into my island. Don't know much about Kiki yet, apart from the aesthetics. But I don't have any cat villagers yet. So.
Guessing it's named. I'm guessing it takes its inspiration from Gigi from Kiki, or it was named by the
Gigi
localizers.
is the cat from Kiki's, but who knows?
But Kiki the cat from Animal Crossing looks like Gigi. Very weird.
Yes.
Really?
Maybe
definitely some of the names of the animals are references to things. I swear they are.
It'd be interesting to know if that's what the name of the character is in Japan, and if that's like a US localizer reference.
Yeah, I feel like the localizers take more like liberties to do silly stuff because the game has already been made and they just get to have a kind of final pass at changing stuff up. Maybe. I don't know if that's true.
Philippa says that she also has Kiki. Philippa, who was last week's guest, Philippa says she has Kiki. Delightful. You won't be disappointed.
Ooh. Wow, glowing recommendation there.
Yeah. Did anyone else have any comings and goings?
I know that Dim, you had somebody move in, right?
Yeah, nobody's left my island yet. I got the campsite and there was a bird in there immediately called Lucha, and every time I'd go in there, he'd be like, he'd be drinking a little beer out of a can, and it probably wasn't a beer, but he gave off a vibe of someone that I didn't really want to have in the island, and I just thought, I like all my villagers a lot. I'm going to sort of make a choice not to have this one. So every day I would go in there and immediately just turn around and come back out and not speak to him, and he would just give me the little question mark like, oh, that was rude. And then I found out
absolutely disgusted by this, Dim.
I know you're a big fan of Lucha.
I wanted Lucha and I got Lucha.
He just didn't necessarily like slot into the vibe I was imagining.
Well, as you know, my island has got a very strong wrestling theme, so
mine is not themed like that.
I needed Lucha, I needed Stinky, and guess what? Your boy went on eBay, and he bought the Animal Crossing amiibo cards, and he invited both of them to the campsite.
I love how the amiibo cards have become rare now. Like, I wish I was smart enough to have bought them all up like 6 months ago.
Now's the time.
Already hard to get 6 months ago.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Well, okay.
As soon as they had announced the amiibo functionality in this one, Argos, because I used to get them from Argos, and they stopped doing
Same, yeah. Anyway, so I eventually found out that you have to invite the first campsite villager into your town.
Ooh.
So I invited Lucha, and honestly, I like him just fine. He looks cute in his little fishing hat, and his house is cool. No problems at all. I haven't really spoken to him much, mainly because today was fishing day, and everybody was super busy doing that. So I didn't have my normal kind of interactions of like giving gifts, and he was never in his house. So that, I haven't really met him properly yet. And then as soon as he was clear of the campsite, I ran to the town services and scanned in the Goldie card, which I'm lucky enough to have in my small collection of amiibo cards.
Goldie, who did really well in the High School Club Village of Earth.
Goldie was my best friend in New Leaf. Like, if I think of New Leaf, I think of Goldie. She was the reason I fell in love with that game, because it was the experience of like, of actually feeling like, oh, I've made a friend inside this video game, with Goldie, more than anyone else.
In my mind, you didn't keep Goldie's amiibo card in a folder somewhere. You had one of those emergency cases that says, do not break in unless there's an emergency. And as soon as you had a villager you didn't like, and as soon as you had that opportunity, you ran straight over there and smashed it. And reached your hand in and pulled out Goldie.
I had them in a little plastic case on a shelf, and I did sort of take it out, like, now the time has come to summon Goldie. And I love, my favorite thing about using the amiibo cards is you get this amazing like psychic communication pop-up where the character is like, hi, yes, this is Goldie, what do you want? And then they're just floating in this abstract space, and it's as if you've just tapped into their brain in some kind of 70s sci-fi movie. It's amazing. I love it.
It's really weird to see that kind of like pink. It's like pink is like a pink repeater background. Or actually, maybe it corresponds to their amiibo card background, because Lucha's was pink and I think his card is pink.
Obviously, they couldn't commit to showing any kind of environs that they previously inhabited, so they just put them in a blank space. But I just love it. I feel like I've psychically communicated with Goldie across dimensions and summoned her to the tent.
It's definitely weird, because I definitely don't feel as close to Lucha and Stinky as I do to my I don't want to say real villagers, my innate villagers. That's not the right word. Yeah.
It takes like 4 or 5 days to like experience a villager's personality, I think.
I'm actually loving the ones that I haven't choose. I did not choose Cyrano. He just rocked up one day.
Nice.
Cyrano, for people that don't know, is like an anteater who seems to enjoy judo.
He's quite a popular fan favourite, I think.
I used to like him. I used to have him in one of my old towns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good lad.
So I'm trying to get Goldie to live in my town. She's being very kind of coy and flirtatious about it. She's like, "Oh, if you were to invite me again, I would definitely come. That's a hint, wink." And she's obviously asked for, locally sourced furniture of various types.
Do you
But
know,
I've heard that 3 is the magic number for getting them to invite in to live in the town. So
3 is what it took with Lucha, and do you know what the final thing he wanted was?
more-
Not a log table, not an iron gate. He wanted a golden candelabra.
Oh my
I
god!
had to dig into my gold reserves to satisfy him.
I
And
just
now-
love the image of him going back on the airport, just lugging this golden candelabra, like, "Oh yeah, I just picked this up, while I was camping." No big
What a
deal.
sense of self-worth.
Yeah, like that's what it takes to buy him, to buy his affection.
Speaking of gold and worth, it's time for the turnip update. And I just want to thank right now Joe's Torpor Dust for coming up with our current stock market graphic. It's been a big week in the stock market. I mean, I don't even know where to start, and it might be because I haven't prepared for this segment. But we're gonna chat a little bit. We're gonna chat a little bit about it right now. So, as I think anybody in a high school club will know, this was a big week for profits. This week we got people out there buying Rolexes, and that's because we made incredible money. There are a few prices posted throughout the week that of above 500 bell prices. I think most people in the club sold for, or rather bought for, I think 90, 91. That seemed to be the low baseline in the club this week. And then I think people have gone on basically to make, 5 times their investment. I walked away with again, for a second week in the running, multi-millions, looking forward to putting a down payment on my super yacht. I remember that we had a big rush on turnips on, I think it was Tuesday PM, I think, or Wednesday PM, when our first person to go above 500, Audrey, signaled to the group that she'd hit the jackpot, and at which point chaos ensued. Luckily, thanks to some very helpful club members, we activated the turnip exchange tool, and managed to form an orderly queue, and then began raking in the millions. Now, next week you're going to return to getting a nice graph of this. But this week, however, you're just going to get pictures of things that you can buy with enormous wealth, such as, yachts, Rolexes, King Charles Spaniels, and, of course, Louis Vuitton bags. And yeah, next week we're going to come back with with more graphs and all that stuff. But right now, I think we're ready to head over to Dim's Island. So I'm here at the airport.
Well, while we're traveling, there's some controversy in the Twitch chat. Philip has said, if you go to a stranger's island to buy or sell turnips, that's as bad as time traveling. True or false?
False.
That's what they intend you to do, I'm sure of that.
Well, but is the key word here stranger's island?
Oh.
Well, what is a stranger, Philippa? Are any of us truly strangers anymore with the internet? That's what I say.
It's a big bold question. A big bold answer there.
I think if they've charged you real world money, then you've crossed the line. Anything other than that is all good.
I've got a kind of sub question to ask. Is it like time traveling? No, because I think it's something that seems to be intentional. You can go to other people's islands and interact with them in all kinds of different ways. And
maybe you'd make friends with them.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. I think
maybe you would. Maybe you'd rush in, grab those turnips or sell those turnips, offload them, and then beeline out of there.
That is realistic.
Philippa says it's the same as using the cheat to get money in The Sims. No!
Rosebud, semicolon, 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 semicolon.
I'm glad you all know this. I never was a big like Sims person.
My sister was big into The Sims. Shout out to Maddie if she's watching.
I see her posting lots of cool stuff in our Animal Crossing group on weekly basis. That group moves fast.
Oh yeah, secondly basis. Oh, we've got a so-called person showing up at my island, Shrinky himself.
It might be me.
Other people in the chat saying, Sammy's stressed out by the idea of Turnip Day so far, and that was just from looking at what's been going on. Ho's made a golden dung beetle with her earnings.
Wow, I got a recipe for that today.
That's cool.
I've got interference getting to lands. I guess it's because Shrinky is hogging all that.
Shrinky made it in first. Yeah, it'll be free now. I'm sure.
Okay. But yeah, going back to Philippa's thing, I've got a question for you all. I've noticed a few people doing this, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. But people that are setting their game to the hemisphere that they're not in the real world. I don't know how to feel about this. I'm a live and let live kind of person, when it comes down to it. That's okay. But
what would be the benefit to doing that? Just to get different readings?
Yeah, let's presume that most of your IRL people are in the same hemisphere as you.
You might live on the equator and then you have to make a choice.
That's a very good question. For everybody on the equator, whatever's best. But when you're up here, up here in the fringes of the northern hemisphere,
the icy tundra that is Northern Europe.
The wall. I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm flying in. I already see that you've got a museum sign. I like that. Oh, hello. It's a great aerial view. I see the remnants of the fishing competition. Oh, hello.
Yeah, I never even entered the tournament today. Oh well, I'll come around again.
It's in July. I was wondering, and I did a little test today, and I realised that you can, unlike some stuff, when Flick and CJ come to visit normally, off-islanders can't trade with them, so they won't buy your goods if you're not from that island, but you can enter the fishing competition if you're not from the island that it's happening on, which means we might be able to do some kind of get together for the July fishing challenge. And with we've arrived.
Welcome very much
to Roc Roost. Tell us about the name, Deb.
The name is. So the roc is a mythical bird from Arabian folklore. You may know it from various Sinbad the Sailor adventures.
I know it from Monster in My Pocket.
There's one great example. There's also a roc in The Wind Waker. The Helm Rock King is a giant. Usually it's a giant bird that snatches people away.
Am I imagining it? Or is the feather that lets you jump in Link's Awakening Roc's feather?
Roc's feather, yeah, that's right.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
It's quite often depicted in kind of Sinbad fairy tales that there's an island with a giant egg on it, which is very Zelda in itself.
Oh, yeah.
And the egg has sort of hatched, and then it's a mystery of what came out of this giant egg, and then the roc shows up, and it's kind of this exciting mythical thing. And I was just imagining what the most mysterious island would be, and I just thought of that theme. It's a weird name though. I like it.
It's cool. I think to me, I imagine lots of mountains as well.
Yeah, I almost spelt it with a K, so it was Roc Roost, like a roc would live here, which is also true. There's a roc here and there's a roc here. But, if you say it out loud, then nobody knows which way around it is.
So on the chat already, 11KRZ says that, oh my God, the island's changed so much since I last went. It's looking good. And Doodles by Ben has highlighted that he loves the Help Yourself area, which looks really well stocked. Oh, a matron!
Please do help.
A matronly bun.
Yeah, this is everything that I wind up getting for some reason and don't want to have. So please help yourself.
Mate, I want the fax machine.
I'll restock it as soon as you empty it out. So go ahead.
Yes.
You don't have to replace anything. It's all good.
Snoozers, losers, Shrinky.
No, I saw it.
I
But,
usually
you-
buy. I usually buy what's ever in the shop, even if I don't especially want it, just because it's fun to get objects.
Well, here's a question, and I know we haven't got to your Nook's Cranny yet, but I've been obsessively buying things, assuming that the shop upgrades are tied to purchases. But it seems to me like maybe they're not. Like again, to restate on this stream, I haven't been looking.
Are
ahead.
there even shop upgrades?
I actually don't know. I mean, I
haven't seen any evidence of it.
That is
To me, it's unfathomable that there won't be shop upgrades in the long
I
term.
agree, but I think it's weird that I haven't seen a single image of it floating around on my Twitter yet.
Yes,
I think it might be locked down to a real date or an update or something.
That is going to be absolutely delightful, and I just want to thank the developers for keeping it special. If that is the case, if our speculation is true, and they do want to make it a massive real world event, which I think is very smart and also very protects the intended gameplay integrity of Animal Crossing in a way that bypasses time traveling, and no judgment on time traveling, just bypasses the kind of super duper mega impatient hardcore people that can't wait for the day to play out.
My approach with it is traditionally, and it is the same this time, is that to start with, I'll only buy stuff that I actually want to buy until I get towards the final upgrades. Like for a long time, I didn't even realize there was the final upgrades to the shops, and that requires quite a lot of spending. So once I've got to a certain point, then I'll start to just buy everything. But right now, I like to keep it natural.
So
just buy what I want.
So Dim, who are you talking to?
I'm just talking to Kat. She was one of my OG2 villagers. Got a gift in return. Absolutely smashed it there. Yeah, I'm very fond of Kat. She's a good friend of mine. I think it might be a he, but I find myself saying she. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I have that with Flick. I only recently realised that Flick is...
I think it's fine to just pick one and just, like... the game's kind of vague on it, so... Yeah, Kat's really nice. I feel like I'm friends with her totally.
Love her no-nose design. Speaking of designs,
she's a great design.
KRZ has clocked what we were chatting about before the stream, Dim, your look for this evening.
Oh yes, this is my current look. Basically, I found Kix came to the island one day, and he had the backpack with the rolled up blanket in it, and I was just like, right, that's it. I've got to do the Snufkin outfit because this backpack deserves the entire rest of the outfit to go with it. Basically.
I mean, you've done a Snufkin cosplay in real life, right?
I have, yeah, with Emmy as Little Mai. It's happened. I'm a big Snufkin fan, philosophically, artistically, everything.
Romantically.
Yeah. Actually, there's some Snufkin-related philosophy kind of governing what I do with my island as well. So it's not just an outfit. It's kind of an outlook, if you will.
I'm hoping to get more into that as we walk around the islands. I love, firstly...
So where do you want to start?
Well, I mean, you take us around.
All of the residents live on this horizontal strip. Eventually there'll be paths when I get paths. But all the houses are literally in a row right to left. So we can visit the villages if you like. This is Ozzy's house, one of my newer villagers. He's a sweet little koala boy, and he's very innocent. He's a bit of a Neville Longbottom kind of guy, where he's kind of like, he's doing his best. Not the brightest, but heart of gold.
I can't wait to see him, but the game's doing that thing where I'm hanging outside the door. I'm coming in now. Yes. Yeah. Clementine's noticed recently that all the cranky villagers are male and that all the personalities have a set gender.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I think that's a bit of a shame. I would really love a cranky female villager. I think that would be a good time.
I'm actually not too up to date on if they've added personality types in this game. It's the kind of thing that I'm not like I'm not like drawn to look into that stuff, because to me, and this is this is something that I'm keen on chatting about actually is to me, it kind of breaks the magic of the game. And one of the things I don't
want to look behind the curtain too much. I don't want to see the Matrix code too much.
I remember playing this, waiting very patiently for the GameCube version to arrive in Europe, and then when it did, I was like so super duper impressed by how kind of full and good and mysterious and interesting all the characters were, and it's something that I kind of feel that is maybe, I don't want to say being lost, because like undoubtedly there are lots of kids out there playing this. Maybe this is their first Animal Crossing, or maybe it's their first game period, and are probably experiencing it in a kind of a way that we did.
Well, not just kids, but like adults that are casual enough to not know anything about the systems and the history and stuff, you know.
Something that I've been trying to figure out how I feel about is that in High Score Club we have like lots and lots of players, and there's Animal Crossing newbies, and sometimes I feel guilty because I think I worry that they see like those of us that have like obsessed with the game for years immediately start running full pelt at the things that we love about the game, and kind of doing these very like hardcore things to accelerate the parts of the game that we really like, and worrying that some new players that are kind of online that are kind of seeing this game as like a shared online experience may be too influenced by that very kind of very kind of driven kind of milestone orientated gameplay. And obviously the game of course now gives you milestone guidance, which is interesting. I think we bring up in every stream, but yeah, I just worry because I'd hate to think that somebody is missing out on the magic of like just living in this world and not not thinking, oh my god, I've got to spend X amount of coins.
I've only played New Leaf. I've not played any of the other ones, and I'm very aware of the reasons I loved New Leaf, which is the sort of relaxed atmosphere of it and the discovery of it and the whole feeling of it. So even though I'm way more aware now of how I'm trying to sort of treat it like I still, I don't want to exploit too many systems. I don't want to look at too many wikis because I know that's just going to ultimately make the game less interesting for me personally.
Yeah. Sorry, Shrinks.
What I've enjoyed about researching a lot of Animal Crossing, as well as just playing it, is that because I wouldn't look at a wiki while playing the game, but then coming back to researching it years later and just finding out the sheer amount of stuff that I didn't know was really, really good fun. And just going, there's this level of detail, or there's this entire system that I wasn't aware of. So I think given enough distance, it can be a new level of appreciation. But I think doing it in real time and kind of deconstructing it too much would be a bit of a shame.
Yeah, I think you've got to have that experience, that genuine experience of just playing it for a while first. Anyway, this is Fauna, my favorite villager, if I was to pick one. Sorry, everyone else.
Bambi vibes.
Yeah, she's very sweet and kind, and she loves flowers, and she calls me Deary, which is a pun, I guess, but she's super nice. I was very happy when she showed up.
I think Kate and Doodles by Ben are giving cosigns to Fauna on the chat.
Yeah, well, you can't have her. She's all good. So if we progress westward, you'll see the rest of eventually there'll be a path that's like the residential strip,
Oh, I freaked out when I realised that paving was a thing. I don't know how I'd managed it, because I had seen that Japanese commercial that looks like a supercar of lots of different places, but I just hadn't really clocked that there was.
I remember clocking
paving.
The animation where they sort of smear concrete on the floor, and I was like, okay, that's a mechanic now. So I'm holding back from doing homemade paths because I don't want to have to redo them all later on.
I think some club members did not hold back.
Sure, yeah.
And went the whole hog, and then realised later on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk to Lucha, who exists in my village, a kind of alternative universe. Lucha.
Is he going to be like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? And then you can say, what are you doing here? And then
I would like to imagine that we've got two different Luchas. Let's have a look.
I didn't know this was a bed.
No.
He's acting like I can just see you two rolling around in the background. Oh my god! It's a real barnstormer happening in the background. So
I can't stand up on it though.
That is a big shame. That it was this way in New Leaf too, and it's kind of a shame that you can't stand in it.
Is this a 4-person bed?
Yeah.
Could you lay 4 people side by side?
Well, if you get the whole ring, you can lay 8 people in the bed.
That's so weird.
That's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory-esque.
I was gonna say that's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory vibes, where all your feet are touching like a rat king under the blanket.
Can I get in? I know you can get in.
Yeah, sorry.
I know you can get in double
Move over.
beds. There,
Oh, we
there's
have 3.
Lucha, mate, get in. It's warm in here.
Lucha, come on,
Look at this.
Lucha.
Looks like Lucha's like
Lucha
beating
is
us in a
judging
match.
us right now. Lucha is like, guys, this is not the time. Like, I didn't invite you to do this. Imagine if 3 men came into your house and laid in your bed at the same time. You'd be slightly confused by that. He's thinking about it. Look.
Oh no! Get it! No!
He had a moment of like weakness there.
Ah, Lucha. He already feels. So I can confirm this Lucha is like a separate Lucha,
Yeah.
parallel universe Lucha.
It's like Luke and Bigger Luke, Lucha and Bigger Luke, Lucha. It's got spelled with 2 years, right?
It would be weird if he recognised you.
I mean,
somehow.
It's like Tom Nook is a different Tom Nook by that logic
Yeah,
as well.
they're all-
And Isabel's a different Isabel.
and your player must just feel very strange as you go from town to town, like meeting all these people they don't recognize you. And while I'm still in Lucha's house, I just want to give a massive thank you to everybody in the club that helped me complete, almost complete my. I think it's officially called the boxing set, but I think that might be because it was. I don't know what the localization is. I've always imagined because this game, because Animal Crossing has lots of wrestling stuff in it. I've always imagined that in Japan this set is called a wrestling set, maybe, but in the localization it's called boxing set, and that would explain why there's.
I don't know. I think this background looks like a kind of punch out type background.
It's very
And then
punch
there's-
out.
It's got those punching bags, whatever they're called.
Interesting.
But then there's definitely wrestling, like the wrestling masks and stuff are clearly wrestling and not boxing.
It's just the only two, as far as I'm aware, the only 2 villages that have the set are Lucha and Stinky, Stinky, not Shrinky, Lucha and Stinky, and they're both very clearly wrestling themed.
I think it's weird to have such a specifically themed villager at all. Like most of them aren't that specific, I would say.
Well, so yeah, something I've noticed about New Horizons, which I think quite a few people had, is that according to their type, the personality type, they seem to start with similar kind of furniture and designs in their houses and so on. But then there are some which are complete exceptions, like we just saw.
I think it depends on how their houses are built, because the ones that you build yourself are all the generic ones, and then if they come along later, they have their own style.
I see.
Because I've seen evidence of this. Like someone had the flamingo character, and the flamingo had other plastic flamingos in the house, and then other people were saying, "Oh, mine hasn't got that. She's just got the wooden furniture," and it's to do with when they come to the town, basically.
So I'm guessing that the wooden furniture in here suggests that Winnie is one of your OGs.
Yeah, Winnie was possibly the 3rd villager. She was the first one I invited. I found her on a random Nook Mile ticket island, and she was wearing a lovely pink overcoat, and I thought, oh, that coat is great. I'm going to invite you to the island. She's never worn the coat since. She knows she doesn't need to anymore, but, Winnie, if you ever fancy putting it back on, I'll be impressed.
Maybe in the autumn might come back.
That's probably what it is. The seasons were changing, and we have a new Winnie with a stripy top. But yeah, she's great. Just a good old friend to have.
She's very cute. I don't think I've ever seen her before. I love her. That's all my thoughts on it.
All right, last house on the strip.
Oh yeah,
This is Rod's house. You can tell he's a fitness nut by his little exercise bike outside. He's one of my OGs. Cat and Rod were the first 2 that came to the island with me.
Cat and Rod. Their names even sound like they're real world neighbours.
Yeah. Although you think Rod would be into fishing, but he's always carrying around the bug net. So, although yeah.
Oh yeah, look. Oh, he really loves punching bags.
Welcome to the world famous Rod Workout Center.
It's looking pretty. I quite like this
I
place.
think I've given him both those punching bags.
I was going to say, did you give them these?
Yeah, he was a big fan, and he's got one on each side of the house. So wherever he is, he can punch something now.
Does he always wear this bandana?
Yeah, he does. He looks like a member of Team Aqua from Pokemon.
I'm just having a chat with him.
I gave him I gave him a different top, and he wore that for a bit, and then he went back to his little. He's wearing like a Goku. If you look really closely, he's wearing like a little Goku kind of gi robe thing.
Oh yeah, well he's upset. Obviously he seems to be a fitness fanatic, and who is fitter than Goku? At the end of the day,
Rod is the ultimate example of the kind of fitness villagers that are always talking about their abs and their muscles, and then you look at them and they're just like little cylinder limbs.
It's interesting.
Like, you do you. Yeah.
He just said to me that he was explaining to me why his muscles weren't as big as they could be yet. So obviously, I like
he's
him.
Aware. He's making.
He's a little guy with big dreams.
Yeah.
So
I like that his exercise bike points into his house, so he can look at his punching bags while he's cycling. Think about punching.
Question before we leave this area:
Yeah.
I'm interested to know what your thinking is behind grouping the villagers in a row.
It makes it really easy to visit them all, like we just did there. And also, I like the idea that they're more likely now to run into each other because all their routes from, say, their house to the town centre are the same. So maybe they'll have more time together. I'm not sure if that's true.
So as an urban planner, you're thinking about community, connectivity, togetherness.
Convenience.
I'm thinking about pathfinding. I'm thinking about algorithms. I'm thinking about community togetherness.
Love it.
They do often hang around this central space. Like Fauna is always watering flowers, so I made sure that when I designed this bit, the flowers were still here, and she's always watering them and reading a little book about them and stuff.
That's very sweet. I noticed that the flowers aren't quite symmetrical.
No, I think I only had as many as I had.
That's
Couldn't
exactly
quite be bothered to fix it.
Exactly how I do it on my island.
Yeah, I was close, and then it is what it is. It's
it's one of the happy accidents that makes it a real living place.
This was where the music player was, and then I moved it. But they were singing along, which is a fun feature of this game. So back here is the kind of shopping district street, which on the left is Timmy and Tommy's, and on the right is Abel's. So nice and easy. My town layout is incredibly concise and neat and tidy. It's all right at the bottom of the town, apart from the museum, which is right in the corner. And
just to kind of illustrate how much self-control you've got, you've left a barrel in your please take one area, but it is actually the hot item of the day.
Oh yeah, well that's fine.
Speaking,
it's probably not going to get too many bells just for a barrel. So
Shrinky, you mentioned something about Nook's Cranny from one of your visits to another island, like before we started today.
Yeah. So Ho and I visited a friend on another island earlier today, and they're playing a Chinese copy of the game. And it was interesting to see that Nook's Cranny had been translated. So our friends were playing the game in Chinese. When we visited, speaking to the villagers and so on, they were speaking in English, and their names appeared in English. But Nook's Cranny, the sign was in Chinese, and some of the other kind of in-game assets were also in Chinese.
Wow,
that was an interesting little thing to compare.
That's a whole feature.
I think the villager names are different, but they're localized differently.
Sure,
so
okay.
When I would see Agnes, they would see something else.
Oh, that's weird.
But maybe we'll
I just wonder how many kids out there, in general, of all languages, that are just like, what is a cranny? What is that? I don't understand.
Yeah.
That word is never used by itself. It's kind of fun.
Well, I'm interested because I think some of our folks on the chat are non-native Anglophones, and I wonder if they're playing the games in their localized versions, and I wonder if that sign also gets localized into the other Nintendo market languages: French, Italian, Spanish, German, etc.
The list goes on.
The list goes on. Oh, you got so Able Sisters. I hear this is this opened this week.
Yeah, I got it quite recently. I think I've had it since maybe Monday or so. I've been going in every day. I really like it.
It's the kind of the way they've leveled it up this time as well is really amazing. Like I'm just gonna go and into the changing room, which I think
Yeah.
some of our old school Animal Crossing fans, they didn't even realize you could do this. And the only reason I knew is because my wife pointed it out to me. But just being able to go
All
in this
about that
changing
changing
room, yeah. Oh, you've got
Yeah.
so much stuff. And what I really love is there's so much stuff that I'm even now. I've had Able Sisters for maybe my coming into, I want to say my third week with it, second week with
Yeah.
it. A lot of days, and I still see things when I visit other people that I've never seen before.
Yeah. Do you
Oh,
find yourself buying novelty clothes, imagining some kind of future costume party event that may
Yes.
happen? Yes.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
100%.
I don't buy all of them, but
No,
if I
and
see
you can't.
potential in it.
I find myself buying like really strange things and just think, oh, I'll find a use for this one day. Pop it in the cupboard, you know.
Here's a
Most
question.
of what I'm wearing actually didn't come from Abel's. It came from various gifts and stuff. But Abel's is great. My favorite thing about the game is just checking the shops every morning. So this is like 50 things to check, you know.
This is
When-
what I. Oh, sorry, Shrinks.
When you go to the Able Sisters, do you talk to both of the sisters?
Oh yeah, no, I'm progressing that cute little
Okay,
storyline
well,
as
yeah,
gently.
I won't say any more. But if anyone is new to playing Animal Crossing for the first time, I would recommend talking to both sisters when you pop into the shop.
Yeah, no, it's super lovely. It's one of the nicest things in the whole game.
Look at this hipster outfit here.
Yeah, the little
pretty-
beanie.
Pretty on trend. I think
I like that you can buy a nose drip, which presumably is like not actually, you know, liquid.
So
Some
here,
kind of plastic.
it's going to look like what's her name?
Daisy May.
Daisy May.
Daisy May.
Question for all my weebs out there. What does the dripping nose signify? That's not a trivia question. I just assume it's one of those things. Like, you know, you see the nose bubble all the time in anime.
Nose
and I-
bubble is like sleeping. I think nose dripping is just like snot nosed kid. Like there's a kid in Wind Waker with a dripping nose.
Oh, that's gross, Shrinks.
Oh, put it away.
Grim. So everybody agrees it's a trope of children. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. It's kind of like a little kind of bratty kid that hasn't sniffed his own nose for a while. I don't know.
I'm glad people were enjoying my like one half One Piece, one half Super Mario Brothers cosplay just then. So basically, I was trying to create one of those two things T-shirts that litters dodgy T-shirt websites.
This is a Mario Bros outfit right over here.
Oh, that's what I was just wearing. I literally just bought that outfit. Oh my god, advertising works.
Yeah.
Bubble for sleeping. Okay, everyone. People, there's a lot of body fluid chat going on in the chat right now, which I'm loving.
Yeah, bubble for sleeping. It's like the equivalent of the three Zs that we have in vague Western culture. I guess.
The other thing, and maybe this is a bit too blue for the stream, but the other thing that's always confused me in anime is the nosebleed for
Like,
sexual frustration.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
like
don't
why
quite
is-
get like where that comes from.
I can only.
Also, they have in Japan, isn't it like if you sneeze, it's because your ears are burning because someone's talking about you.
Oh, that's cool.
That's I don't know who comes up with these things.
Oh, I've been here.
We've arrived at my house. This is my little homestead. I really, really like the location of my house against the river. It's very cozy. And I feel like I have this whole kind of quadrant of land to myself. I've separated it off with this meadow, which feels natural, but it sort of provides a subtle message to the villagers that says, this side of the meadow is kind of my front garden. So just so you know.
It's your domain.
My domain, yeah. I do see the animals sitting at my outside table, which is very sweet. They are allowed to do so, but
Do you ever shoo them away with the
No,
broom?
I would never.
Get off my land.
I would know. They're more than welcome to come around. I just feel like I've claimed quite a large spot of land for myself.
KRZ's breaking down the nosebleed situation in the chat right now,
okay.
and it makes a lot of sense. I never thought of it that
The
way.
blood, right? Right.
All makes
Okay.
sense.
Over here, I've got my kind of like chintzy.
Look at
like,
this
American front
Triceratops.
lawn. This is to represent like projects I've made with my workbench.
Yes, that Triceratops
Arts
is
and crafts.
amazing.
Yeah, it's wicked, isn't it? The duck was a gift from Emmy, and then I've got my little Thumbelina tulip lady. There she is.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Born in a
this,
tulip.
this reminds... I didn't know this fairy tale until I went to the Efteling with high school.
Efteling. Great source for European folklore. Absolutely. And then just a very humble little camping area, which is very on brand for Snufkin.
I wouldn't call your acres of land over here humble, I would say. You know.
My favourite feature is this pump which fills the river up every day. Otherwise it would dry out.
It'll take you a while.
Yeah. No, it's most of my day is just this. I really wish they'd take the feature out of the game, but you have to do it.
It has to be an easier way,
These
doesn't it?
these devs.
When are they going to fix it? Okay, should we go inside the house?
Yes, I'd love to see.
So I'm always in awe of people's houses because it's always been for the last two Animal Crossing games, it's been a kind of source of shame for me because I focus.
Really?
Well, I'm always. So last time in New Leaf, I really struggled to kind of complete my project of. I had a few projects in the house, and I never really made it into a home, and I never really completed the projects. It was just a mess. And this time I focused way too much on the outside and not enough on the inside. And now I'm in here. Oh my God, look at this.
This is my kind of conservatory lobby area. I just found I found this floor. I love black and white check floors. I would love to live in a house like this in real life. It's kind of Alice in Wonderland vibes. You guys sitting at the table together, enjoying each other's company, yeah?
Back to back.
Sort of.
What is this?
My little bird friend.
Looking at myself in the mirror.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you might be able to see Martin over your shoulder.
What's the significance of the back to back tables?
It's I like that it's like just slightly unnervingly wrong. Like you can sit at the table, but something's not right. Like you've made a mistake. I don't know. I just enjoy it.
Very Wonderland-esque.
Yeah. Like, in this world, we put the chairs this way around. Like, why would you not? Or you could sit at them like a cool kind of 90s gym teacher, like with the legs astride back. Not that you can do that in this game. Maybe they'll add that in an update.
That's the big deal. That's the big DLC that's coming.
Captain America. So you got detention.
This dragonfly is much bigger than the tarantula I've got. I'm going to double check that my tarantula's not bigger now.
Okay.
I was
quite happy with the dragonfly model. I think it's pretty neat.
Right.
It's really detailed.
I'm going to get a butterfly next time. I really wish I could put it in a spooky bell jar. I love bell jars. The ones in the museum are great, and I have to get some in my house someday.
Yeah, maybe you'll be able to get something like that. At least an exhibit jar.
Maybe.
I just love how like old money it feels to have just like a bit of fossil chunk, just hanging around like some fancy art.
Yeah, it's probably a replica, but I use it as a paperweight. Got a couple of things on the walls, but yeah,
it's lovely.
I don't have a bed anywhere in the house, so the rooms aren't like functional rooms as far as having a house goes. But they just exist to amuse me.
And I'd never even thought of having a lobby, but now you've really figured me out.
Why not?
An antechamber.
It's all lobby.
Oh, look at this! This is now. This is proper, full-on Hogwarts.
Yeah,
now,
this
I
is my.
Imagine this is what you would do in real life if you could.
Absolutely, this is my dream room in every way. This is my wizard study where I'm researching forbidden types of magic, basically.
And shrinking ships down to dangerously small sizes.
Oh yeah, cursed things and
I was about
riddles and.
So, are any of the books customized?
A few things are customized. Yeah, the documents at the back are customized. I'm researching something I found in an old tome. The documents on the far right have a picture of it.
Cool.
You can change these pile of books to be older and newer. And yeah, a lot of candles. My favorite thing is to spin the camera around so that the the chemistry set is at the front of the screen. It just looks really nice.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it for all the people. Oh, look at the smouldering smoke.
Yeah, you can sort of stand behind the smoke like you're in a Frankenstein movie or something.
This is very, very cool. Oh, and what kind of creepy thing is on the film reel?
Ooh.
And then I've lit up my little writing area with my film projector.
This is something, because since we saw Philippa's house with all the great lighting,
Mm,
I've paid a lot more
I
attention
know, I
to the
love
lighting
that.
in the game, and like the fact that that projector projects out a little spotlight, and then I
Yeah,
actually got one of the studio style spotlights or lamps, and realized that it also projected a shining
yeah,
dot on the wall. I was thinking there's potential here for some good, fun atmospheric setups with, like, I don't know, a
yeah,
poster
yeah.
or an object you want to illuminate when someone comes into the room.
It's interesting. The candles don't give off an awful amount of light. It's they're quite minimal in that end, but
Kind of
a
like in
couple of
real
really
life.
nice glowing things like the plasma ball and the liquids in the chemistry set seem to emit some kind of phosphorescent light. Um,
It's
so
it
yeah, this is
the camera view when the projector was on was incredible. They got the smoke coming out, got the light. We were all kind of illuminated by it.
oh
It
yeah.
is like a scene from a movie.
Well,
The Goonies.
I I'm very happy with this room. I'm hoping to find more stuff to put in it, but it's getting pretty full.
It's pretty
It was
incredible.
complete.
You've
This
done a great
morning
job
there was
already.
stuff on every square, and I had to like cut it down to what we're looking at now.
That's
I
what
was
that's what
gonna
my house looks like.
I was going to ask
Yeah.
if you had tidied for our visit.
Absolutely no.
Okay.
It was an absolute nightmare, and I just thought, okay, let's pick the best objects and arrange them, and try and make a room out of it that
That
I would
makes me
actually
feel
be
a lot
able to
better.
use.
We appreciate
yeah.
it. Home mentions that we were good to not prick ourselves on the spin.
Oh yeah,
spinning
yeah.
wheel.
Watch out! Everything in there is cursed, so don't touch anything. You'll get in trouble.
Oh my god! So now I put on the projector. Does that mean I'm going to get a visit from kind of a ring style
Yeah, I would
ghost?
say so. Yeah, your days are number point.
Oh jeez, I just watched a really bad horror movie about old film reels with Ethan Hawke.
Oh, bad news for you, Martin. If you're feeling a bit spooked.
Oh no! Oh, who's the spooky wizard who died on the spot?
So I commissioned this guy to summon something for me. He says it'll take 5 to 8 weeks, but hopefully it'll come out of this hole when he's done. He gave me a drawing of it down here. There's a little magazine with an old illustration in it that he found for research. This kind of strange black bandy-legged creature on the ground that he's trying to summon from the well.
Oh,
So
my
I check in with him every day, and he's just kind of humming quietly at the ball of amber there.
That's too spooky. This is great though. Does he have a name?
Yeah, I mean, no, he doesn't speak any language that anyone can understand, so I wouldn't know. But he's taking up a whole room in my house, so I should find out.
KRZ says, so this isn't the cursed room? And Emmy thinks this guy's name is Professor Binns.
Professor Bins probably is. Yeah. I have to say, I think the amber is a guilty. I didn't have it in the museum, but I didn't give it to Blathers because I really wanted it for my display. So don't let Blathers know that I'm hoarding scientific samples here.
You can always donate it in the future.
When we are done with, we'll go to the museum.
It's a
for safekeeping.
temporary exhibit right now.
Yeah, we're getting some use out of it.
I wonder what the significance of the mosquito is to this this ritual. If that is a mosquito,
Probably, yeah.
I'm not even.
There's also some great music in here if you can hear the game at all. My favorite KK song.
Which KK song is it?
It's called KK Dirge, and it's wonderful. In real life, I'm getting into a genre of music called dungeon synth, which it feels like this is Animal Crossing's version of dungeon synth, which is just like unnerving, atmospheric, spooky, echoey music that you listen to while you're doing something else. And I just love it so much.
I know that some people were looking for KK Dirge. I think Ho was looking for KK Dirge. And just on cue, he says in the chat, KK Dirge is her fave too.
Can I order music and send it to people? I don't know.
You can, yeah. You can go to
okay.
You can go to the Nook to Nooks, and you can go into the special catalog, the final catalog. You can look at.
Okay, I can do that.
And you can.
I've been buying all the music as I see it. I've got quite a few of them now.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a full collection, but I've been wondering.
I love the artwork.
Yeah, I mean it's so good to have that artwork in high res now. Like,
yeah, they're great.
Such a treat. And shout out to the devs that worked on doing all of those, because some of them are really funny when you like go and look at them, and some of them like give a little insight into the wider world of Animal Crossing. Like you can see like why are certain characters appearing on the sleeves, and if you look a bit deeper you can see, oh, these people were once in a band with KK Slider. Like apparently,
wow.
I think we mentioned
Cool.
on the last stream, or maybe the stream before last, that we spotted Barreled on the cover of KK Scar.
Nice. Over here, I'm trying to build a bridge, but I'm not rich enough. I'm going to have to sell some turnips to pay for this second bridge. Did not keep much money back for turnips, so I'm kind of screwed on that front. That's all right.
That's, the turnip game, it's going to be there every week. And I think one thing we've learned in High Score Club is that together, especially this week where we saw multiple over 500 bells valuations throughout the week,
Yeah.
that I think it's pretty. I think if you're on the Club Turnip Discord, which once a stream, we'll link to it in the chat, so you can feel free to come and join us if you're not already there. I'm just going to make a donation to the bridge.
Oh, you don't have to, but I very much appreciate it.
You were off to a good start. You already had over 300 bells in there.
That's probably one of the other cute villagers giving all their life savings away. I'm very thankful for that.
I just flubbed it and he gave him 3 bells. Torpor Dust flagged it. I didn't want to give. I wanted to give more.
3 bells. That is insulting. I'm afraid.
I fluked it. It's more than your villagers will ever give, I'm sure. But no, I'm going to leave a better donation. I promise.
Wouldn't it be amazing if you could get a villager that was completely loaded and was able to donate, thousands and thousands of bells?
Well, this is an interesting thing. Like Judith went to a desert island and she met Lionel, who neither of us had ever seen before, because once again we're not, even though we love Animal Crossing, we don't obsessively we didn't collect the amiibo cards, and we don't obsessively look up all the villagers. He is very regal. He basically is the Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh wow, great!
And she was desperate to get him, got him to come back to her island. Was expecting that he lived in the most opulent place possible. Was a very wealthy prince, but no, he lives very meagerly. Whereas I've got Colton, who's kind of a horse that's kind of dressed like Prince Charming. He lives in a place that is like maybe even one step up from your antechamber. Dim.
Sure. I've got Elvis, who has a literal golden cutlery set and has a golden casket, which he wanted. Well, he was saying it's very comfortable. I didn't know if that meant that he was encouraging me to sleep in his golden casket, or if he's saying that he sleeps in his golden casket, which would suggest that maybe he's a vampire. I don't know.
Maybe.
Or just a golf.
Well, I did notice that I could eventually, I realised in my Able Sisters, I could buy Colton, the Prince Charming horse. I could buy his outfit. So if you're familiar with what the vampire outfit looks like, which is a thing in this game, maybe you can identify.
I've seen it. Kate's got one. I think she gave it to me. It's amazing.
If you see a villager wearing it, beware. Ho commented on my on me giving 3 bells and then getting shamed for it, and then over donating in a kind of Alan Partridge-esque way. No. But who knows if that's what really happened or not.
Up here we have a skeleton of the rock itself.
Cool. And it's got a little mural of its egg.
Yeah. So this is my town flag. I don't know if you spotted it. I just plopped it here to be like, this is the theming of the town.
That's cute. One second. I want to get a photo of the 3 of us in front of the rock. So you've made the rock by taking, I guess, combining two
couple of different.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna get my camera out.
It's kind of like the fossil Pokemon in Sword and Shield, where they incorrectly piece together old animals to make something new.
Wait, there was a tree in the way. Wait, I need to reframe.
Sorry, I've got a bunch of like errant trees.
I think that's the best that we're gonna get. Let me just slap some filters on this. Yeah, that's good.
I'm taking some photos too.
There's one for the scrapbook. Torpor Dust is loving the rock.
So this has been reconstructed from various fossils found on the island, which prove that it is in fact the Roc Roost itself. I don't have any inclines yet because I'm not rich enough for that, but up we go on the ladder to the next site.
Good thing that I brought my ladder.
So If you're very careful, don't step on anybody, can come into Tiny Town.
Oh, I love Tiny Town. In real life, I love model villages.
Yeah.
And I already love the model village kind of vibe of Animal Crossing. And I've got to tell you, I think this came up on Philippa's stream, maybe Philippa's stream, or maybe.
No, it was on the Philippa stream. You were talking about the size of the door in the lighthouse and who might live in there.
Yeah, and now we know.
Honestly, that did spark the idea of. I also got the Leaning Tower really early on as a gift, and I just thought, what am I going to do with this?
I've also just clocked that the little saplings are full-size trees in the model village, and it's really
full-size trees.
And it's so clever because they can't grow any bigger if they're planted so close to each other, right?
Oh, is that how you've done it?
Yeah.
Oh, and
as a pretty militant fruit farmer, I know the intricacies of the distances you can plant trees.
Tree growing. So there's lots of little tiny people that live here. If you are very careful, you might spot one.
Oh my god, is that a challenge?
I mean,
I just started to walk very slowly because I actually am terrified of stepping on the model village people. Oh, I love this. I guess these are custom textures, right?
Design.
Yeah, that's right. I learned all about how you can do that and how you have to put down the picture first, and then it's all a big kerfuffle. And then I've got some forced perspective hills in the background.
Yeah, I love it.
I spotted those.
And I thought the Zen wall looked like a sort of city wall, so why not? And that's Tiny Town.
I love Tiny Town.
Delightful.
Can I get a Tiny Town t-shirt? Please make a Tiny Town merchandise.
You know what? I'll set up next to it. Next time you come, there'll be a stall next to it with Tiny Town merch. Like when you go to a gig and they sell you merch.
Yes,
like a gift shop for any model village, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you had to buy a pencil sharpener, an overpriced
like the Tower of Pisa.
Yeah, I was going to put the fax machine in our tent next week as our souvenir from your island, but now I think it needs to be a Tiny Town merch.
I'll send you a Tiny Town t-shirt you can hang on the wall.
Yes.
If anyone finds any objects that could work as a little house, please let me know. I'm looking for ideas to expand Tiny Town.
I wonder if there's a birdhouse that without a stand.
I wish, because I noticed the birdhouse would work if you could lower it down.
Well, I know actually, you'll like this. In the OK Motors set, there are 2 miniature cars.
Oh, perfect. Yes, need them. I haven't spotted any of that stuff yet.
So that stuff, and I have to thank Shrinky for telling me this, is that you get that stuff via connecting up Pocket Camp with New Horizons, and then you can access it from the Nook Miles catalogue, I think. But if you don't want to go through that hassle, I can send you them.
Oh.
Oh, and KRZ.
I'd keep my turnips if I had any.
KRZ is highlighting that you can get a doghouse as well, which we saw on Philippa's Island.
Oh, yeah, that might work. That might work. And I'm looking for anything that just could fit into Tiny Town.
I mean, Tiny Towns. I'm a big fan already.
There's nothing to see up here. I'm just taking you a little scenic route through the hills.
And did this come naturally with your island? This like little centralized waterfall?
Yeah. This is how I haven't done any terraforming. This is what it looks like.
This is amazing.
I don't really know to what extent it differs from other people's, but I really do like it up here. I think it's quite nice.
One thing that I have noticed, like coming through, like visiting people's islands at such an early stage in development, is how different they feel. And although there is a general rule that people's higher terrain is typically towards the back of the map, the actual size of the various levels in terms of their initial footprint does make villages feel a lot different. And I feel like I felt this especially on what I would consider to be flatter islands, like Philippa's Island, like Doodles by Ben's Island. They feel very different to my island, which started off as having not a very big lower area, but bigger back areas. So I actually felt their towns felt a lot more expansive, and and interesting than mine, which was kind of very cloistered together initially.
Sure, yeah. I just like having the section at the back, which feels like it's discouraging you from developing on it too much. I like that kind of a third of the town feels more like wild countryside.
Yeah.
I really
I've been keeping the mountain area for a public work that I'm hoping is going to happen. And I had an upsetting incident a couple of weeks ago where I was talking to Zucker, who's one of my... Well, actually, no, Zucker ran up to me. He's one of my closest villagers. And he said, "Oh, hey, I've been thinking it'd be really, really great if we had this kind of place." I'm not going to say what it was. And it sounded like he was talking about a public work that he wanted me to start working on.
Yeah.
And he wanted to give me a planning. You know, when you want to put down a building in this game, you
Yeah,
get one of those little packages. He went to give me one, and then he said, "Oh, but your pockets are full."
Oh.
And then,
no.
And so then I went back, chucked some stuff out of my pocket, spoke to him again immediately, and it's like nothing had happened.
That sounds like an anxiety dream.
And I can't.
I tried to pick something up, but my pockets were full and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, and he
Did
won't.
it even happen?
Well, I took screenshots of because I was so excited about it.
But they came out blurry, and I don't understand.
His face was all just like a smug.
Black melting eyes.
Speaking of freaky business, the runes. This
Yeah, I don't know what to tell
stone.
you. These were here when I moved in. I haven't touched them.
Oh my god!
Left by the original inhabitants of the island.
Yeah, whoever was here before had some kind of agenda. I'm not quite sure what the deal is.
This is freaking me out. This is like my wife's built like a maze with references to Midsummer in it, and that's already creepy enough for me. If anybody knows me well, they know that I.
This rune on the right looks like Mauser from Super Mario Brothers. Don't you think?
So what does? Sorry.
This rune on the right looks like Mauser. Is that the right enemy?
Let me see if I can get it on screen.
I don't know. He has a Mauser like essence about it.
I'm just gonna put Mauser on screen. You're talking about the mouse with sunglasses, right?
I don't know if he's called Mauser. He's the mouse from Mario Bros. 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think we're talking about the same guy. I'll just really inelegantly put it on screen for everybody to enjoy.
All right.
What do you think?
Maybe.
Sorry, I was blocking it. Let's do it out of the way now.
Wait, I'm gonna put it right next to it for like one comparison. What do we think?
Yeah, I think the ratio of like, I think it's more like his little sprite when he sticks his legs out. I'm imagining it, but yeah, maybe that's what they're trying to communicate with. Maybe Mauser lives underground or something. I don't know.
I'm finding the sprite.
Oh no.
I'm not finding
maybe
the sprite.
I've imagined that there's a Mario sprite somewhere which is sort of a splayed-limbed mouse.
The Google image search didn't come up.
No.
So we'll look later.
Let's move on.
Meanwhile, in the chat, there's some spooky chat going on. KRZ saying, spookiest thing that happened to me so far has been B, my cute little doggy who's building something in her house. I went up to her and she told me that she was making a Western-style stone and gave me the recipe. For some reason, I thought she meant Western stuff like, cowboy. But it's just a tomb.
Yeah, it's a full-on Disneyland Haunted Mansion grave, and I really want...
Of course you do.
Shout out to that. Shout out to that localization.
But then isn't this called like a Zen stone or something?
Yeah, I think it's Western because it's not Eastern,
But this is also presumably
because there's gold text
memorial,
on the reverse, right? Which I
you
also
can flip it over and there's sort of text on it.
and also
I
gotta say that is one of I know a few people have been mentioning. I think new time players who maybe have not played before have been talking about the fixed nature of the camera, which may seem to some people might seem a bit outdated, but actually it's a massive advantage when it comes to building things because it makes it easier to repurpose things in a satisfactory way.
It's like the whole game's a bit of an illusion really, and you can go for it.
Makes me wonder what's written on the back of the logs.
No one knows. No one will ever know.
Interesting museum placement, by the way.
Yes. So, sort of in stark contrast to the way the rest of my town is laid out, I put the museum all the way out here. And my internal logic was that the museum is so fancy in this game that it wouldn't be in the middle of a humble little town. It would be out of town. And you'd have to take a day trip to visit it.
Oh, I love that. And I like seeing people. I've seen a few people kind of make parks around their museum too, to kind of have that same like grandeur, because this thing is fancy.
Speaking of like illusions and the fixed camera, the way I've got it right at the back kind of excuses how much of a TARDIS it is, because you can't actually necessarily, you don't generally go behind it. I mean, we are doing that right now, but you can sort of imagine that it just extends out.
Yeah, very few people are going to run behind, although obviously one thing that I think that we found out pretty quickly is this like the secret beach thing that we all seem to share, the mystery of the secret beach that we all have.
Yeah, you can get there with a ladder or whatever. When I get past, I'll make a nice path up to the museum, so it'll feel like you're going on a kind of cute trip to the museum.
We saw there's at least one signpost to send us up.
Yeah, there are signposts. If you go down here, because it's kind of out of the way, I plopped a couple down. There's one here with a hand-drawn illustration of the museum. I think when people came, they literally had to say, like, where is it? I'm lost. So I thought, okay, put down some signs.
You've got 2 signs pointing up, just so to make sure.
Yeah, sort of following the directions is best. And then my humble orchard.
Look at the colour coding!
Just a couple of trees per fruit. Yeah, the color coding, honestly, it's pretty lazy. It's like the same circle, just filled in differently.
Hey?
I keep meaning to go back to it and improve it, but I have not yet done
The system presumably works, so...
It does work, yeah. Although I messed up and there's only room for 2 cherry trees, and that really annoys me because there's 3 for everything else.
At one point, probably about 50% of my island were very, very tightly packed fruit trees.
I saw it. I couldn't believe it. I've never seen such an industrial,
Well, in previous games, like fruit farming is how I've made my buck. Obviously, thanks to the turnip group at High Score Club, Steen has become more of a financialized nation, and now we can afford to destroy our farms. In the name of public
works. If you like any fruit, please help yourself. I'm not a big fruit seller. I wouldn't go hungry if you took any. But
here's a question for both of you: do you think we are going to receive the missing fruits at any point? Durian, banana. Are we going to see them?
I can't imagine how they would integrate that now. It seems like it would be kind of weird.
I'm interested in the pier.
Oh, the other mysterious thing we all have, the jetty.
The jetty and where that might lead. So
I think you're right.
I'm not ruling out that we might still see places that have other fruit, and we don't know where else you might fly to. Harvey's Island. We
might see seasonal fruit like a October pumpkin, or in the same way that we eggs and cherry blossom petals.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure. I love the mushroom hunting in autumn, so I'm hoping that'll be making
Maybe there'll be bananas and pineapples in a tropical summer island or something.
Oh, KRZ mentions lemons, which I forgot were a thing.
Lemons. Can you eat the lemon? And just get the lemon powers. I've got coconuts.
That was one of my party tricks at school, was eating whole lemons.
Wow.
Well,
we've come to the very last attraction on my island, which is something
this?
we.
Oh no! Oh no! It's the strange relic.
This is the thing on day 3 we unearthed this in its entirety, and no one can understand quite what it is, but we're in the middle of researching it, as you've seen.
Oh my goodness. It's freaking the chat out right now. It's freaking the chat out.
It's something. It's some kind of being. If you come down here and step on the space with the little white footprints, and then push up on the right analog stick, you'll get a great view of it looming in the distance.
Oh my god! I'm never coming back to this island, and it's a full moon. Is it a full moon? It looks like a full moon tonight.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I'm very distressed. This thing looks like it was born of a nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it's asleep, at least. It hasn't made any noise. But...
Oh my god! Wait, I'm escaping. Bye, guys. That's amazing. So I mean,
Don't leave me with it.
I look forward to kind of hearing how this all, fires back in the faces of the people of the village. Who,
Yeah, I feel like you might come back to visit me, and it'll just be like a kind of crater, and there'll be no one here.
No, I think we're gonna come back, but everyone's gonna have this distant stare.
Yeah.
No one's
Yeah.
gonna be like the personality is gonna be somehow washed out.
Yes, that's right. And there'll just
Not
be some dull
fauna.
rumble from underground.
Fauna.
Fauna is like a ray of hope in this dismal place.
I guess Fauna will become like the protagonist after in the Dark World.
Yeah, I would follow her into it.
That was meant to be a Final Fantasy reference, not a Stranger Things reference. But I
Help
guess
herself is gonna take on a whole new meaning.
Yeah, if only we could.
people are using the oil can as like as a kind of a shield. The espresso maker firing hot espresso into the monster's eyes.
Yeah, this will be our kind of Mad Max. Like, well, this is what we've got to live on for 10 weeks now. So,
And eventually
Yeah.
we realise that its secret weakness was lemon. Lemon juice is the thing that we've been lacking that beats it.
that is the whole island tour in terms of things to look at right now.
Brilliant.
Thank you for inviting us.
It's all right. I had a really good time. It was a really good excuse to spend a bit more time cleaning up my island because I've been a bit lazy about it. So.
Well, I think it doesn't look lazy. It tells a story. Oh, it doesn't tell a story. It is happening. It's all happening for real.
It's environmental storytelling at its finest.
Anybody would think that you did this for a living.
Thank you.
Speaking of it being the end of the stream and what Dim does for a living, I think we'd be remiss not to mention that you've started streaming your experiments in dreams on the PS4, which has been fascinating to watch.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've never streamed anything before, but since we're all at home all the time, I've been playing Dreams a lot. And I got a little headset that I'm using right now. I'm making a game which is called Horror Karting, and it's basically Resident Evil if you were a go-kart the whole time, and I'm having a lot of fun making it.
It's been amazing to watch, and I know that you're probably maybe slightly irritated by the fact your protagonist has started to gain momentum as having a fan base before the game's even completed.
Yeah, my sort of placeholder protagonist is getting all the attention in the chat, but at least people are watching. I'm happy with that.
There's some enthusiasm for the stream in the chat. Yeah, I'd highly recommend checking it out. Adam, where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter at SFBDim, and then sfbgames.com is the website with the games I make with my brother Tom, who's also in High School Club.
Name some games that you've made, Dim. Go on.
Our most recent release was a game called Tangle Tower, which is a murder mystery adventure detective game.
Really beautiful artwork.
Thank you. It's on Apple Arcade, Switch, and Steam. And we also made a game called Snipper Clips, which is on the Nintendo Switch, which you might have heard of. It was a launch title for the Switch a million years ago.
And Shrinky, on your side, what are you up to?
Well, nothing out of the ordinary at the moment, but you can find me on Twitter at shrinkwrapped, and I will continue to beaver away at more episodes. Well, one more episode of Asstown, the podcast, of which this is a spin-off.
Yes, absolutely. I'm honoured to be part of it.
Yeah, I should say, yeah, we're always looking for your mail. So I'm still looking for people's experiences of Animal Crossing influencing their real life, or how their real life has influenced their play in Animal Crossing. So you can email us at asstown@highschoolclub.com, as you can see on the stream right now. Please still send your stuff in that way. Thank you to the High School Clubbers who have already.
Yeah, I think I'm really psyched to see the finale of the first season, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Quite an achievement.
As we say every time, recently featured in Edge. So
yes, absolutely.
So
the mark of success.
So you're both edgelords now. So no, obviously you're both Edge faves at this point.
Oh yeah, I've been in Edge as well. Yeah.
It's all we're only dealing with famous people on stream now. You know what I mean? People can find me on Twitter too. I'm at Steenton. I don't do a lot of posting. But stay tuned because at the moment I'm releasing Spotify playlists.
And it's worth saying, you do post quite a lot on the High School Club Twitter, which if anyone's not following, they can and should follow.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll put some of those deets on the screen right now. Need to get back to posting video game art on Instagram and Tumblr, which we will start doing again soon, when we're not all busy playing Animal Crossing every single hour of every single day. Ho wants us to get Brie Larson on the stream next week. If someone has her agent's number, send her our way. And so, this has been the Asstown on Tour stream. Thank you for tuning in. And
thanks very much for having me.
Thank you for having us.
Coming.
That was great.
To conclude correctly this week, because I messed this up last week, because I forgot we were meant to be finishing the stream this way. But just to conclude, with hope for our continued growth and to celebrate another week of New Horizons, this has been Asstown on Tour.